friends, after all this time, we're finally getting back to trials. Yay! Don't ask me what happened last time. I don't remember. Because I don't remember. And we're just gonna go back to the trial, and it's gonna be great. Yay. If it ever wants to load. There we go. February 20th, Old Bailey. Well, I never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon? Oh yeah, we were literally here yesterday. We are on a study tour of Great Britain with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible. Yeah, but that's like a lot. For the person in the dock, it might as well be his or her only time in court, and it could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass. That is a fair point, Rianowski. Also, someone told me how to pronounce the name right, and I forgot again. So, oops. Oh, well, when you put it like that, you're quite right. Good morning. Oh, it's this dude. Okay. Oh, Mr. Natsume. Good morning. He's so jittery. It's okay. Oh dear, you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot. The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yes, I've heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early. But I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. And now I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Do all literary people take things so literally? Nope. Yeah, we do. Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume. Like he has much of a choice. I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. Really? Because I feel tremors in the floor. I can't do this. I can't take it. You don't have to do anything. The locum student, Mr. Naruto Esquire. Yes. I caught a glimpse of the. Oh, shoot. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. Okay. Do you know why that might be, Miss Susato? I'm sorry, Mr. Naruto. I have no idea. So that all-knowing look in your face is just a coincidence then, is it? Don't hide the truth from me! It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Lord Van Zykes. I think it's Zykes. Is that right, Miss Susato? I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zykes is the front page of every one. I knew it! Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey. He stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday. Yes, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? I mean, bad. Mean, man. The trial 2 days ago marked... Oh, it's 2 days ago. Marked Lord Van Zykes' return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGilded. Ugh, what a harrowing experience that was. Oh. I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's. But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon? For what appears to be a mundane murder. That's the question the papers are asking, and they are all speculating various answers. Mundane! Mundane! It's the most significant saga of the century to some of us! Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the papers are describing it. Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. But there's another blatant similarity with the trial of the 2 days ago. Yes, I agree. Locum student Mr. Naruto Esquire, it's you! Me? Well, I suppose that's true. Both times it is you who stands against the legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper! Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers. I'm afraid that there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruto, of your uncommon bad luck. Thanks for that. Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such a frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive! Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Yes, it's true that I'm just a student, new to London with little in the way of experience or skills, or luck. But I promise you this. I will fight your corner until the bitter end, and I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume. Oh, benevolent locum student Naruto, Esquire! You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side. Oh, benevolent non-locum assistant Miss Mikitomo Esquires! I am in your debt forever! I shall never forget that. Mr. Natsume, counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. Every time. Alright then, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go. Yes! Yay! This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom. And my second trial against the Reaper. I miss him! Come back, please. I hope you're watching over me, Katsuma. Because this time, I won't let my faith waver. And I'll believe in my client to the last. I mean, our last client was kind of a douchebag, so. Just like you believed in me, I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. I miss him so much. So rude. I'm not ready. Is it the same jurors? I thought it was different people. I thought it was random. Okay, yes, not. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. I don't... 1 second. Oh, goodness, hold on. You are truly a fascinating breed. That's, like, what? Why are you like this? Okay, I did some Googling, and it was indeed, like, it can't... I don't even know. Like, it was used to describe Japanese for it, but, like, it's still, as suspected, offensive. Okay, interesting. I'm sorry, what? Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago. A mere amateur. Do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused. I suppose. Typical. Esteemed guest from the foreign lands. Arrogance. You will not insult me, sir. I have the power here. Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. Susanoo-san. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent. I think he's just an alcoholic, actually, on wine. Very true. A most fascinating, if dark, trial it was, too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted, and his unfortunate violent end. Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public? You never know when you might do down in your luck. but I believe in fair play for everyone. Oh, it is different people. Okay. I was like, well, I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear. Oh well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow. I'm afraid to say, I think it's quite possible that mustache foreigner did the deed. Wait, isn't that the maid slash not maid? Come on, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway. Sorry, didn't quite catch that. What? She's not impartial? I mean, maybe she is. Very well, let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Vanzelix. Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with the rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, asserting Mr. Sasaki not to marry. And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, this student is accused of a most sinister act. Of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. A knife crime? I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are. Just look at that. They're not getting voices, bro. I'm too tired. Look at that sallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful. You're not. It's not funny. It's bad. Why is everyone racist? I know why, but still. Come on, get it over with. Me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, didn't quite catch that. Pray, forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hollowed chalice here in this great chamber. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand. Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please. Dick Gumshoe! You ancestor. Your name and occupation, please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson. Oh, wait, they're all British. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector, Scotland Yard. Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector? I clicked the wrong screen. There we go. The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green. I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be? Yes. Having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since. What? So they don't even know who she was, for sure? Comatose. I see. But her life is not in danger. Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector. Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at the street map. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Bry Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. It had not been long. It had long since stopped snowing, as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. No, walking now. Oh, I don't know your accent. Out of the blue, she approached from behind, but by the accused and stabbed in the back. I did not read that sentence correctly, but you get the idea. She was jiffy stabbed in the little back of there. Luckily, young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. I can't read, I swear. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement for her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far. Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence if you please. La 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 la. We don't know how she got there. What of the weapon that was used? Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back. Ouch. That big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman. Even the scragged looking Sosuke-san, I suppose. Sasuke, oh my gosh, I can't. A Commodore Garden jackknife, I would say. Rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence. Okay. Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume? For what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems she's a poor student herself. I don't know why all of a sudden everyone's from Ireland and Scottish and all that, but you know. I see. Well, in that case, we're looking at some deep-seated resentment towards the victim. I'm afraid I can't say. Apart from the visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
Why do we... If theft and grievance had been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of that, in totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
Don't objection me. I want to do that. Wait, I have a duck. I'm throwing my duck. Okay, so hold it like this. I'm sorry, duck. Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. But your words have soured its hallowed bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here. What? Oh, did you... Hold on. The volume went down. Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the student. Yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir. Okay. I accidentally turned the volume down. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. There's been a number of books he just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. Yes. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the bloke to arrest him. That doesn't mean he did it. He might have just been scared. Old books, you say? Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident. Ah, yes, I can clearly see the books to which you are referring. I will take that photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector. No! Why are you like this? You esteemed gentlemen from the foreign lands are a spineless breed. Okay, you still got me on that one. Too cowardly to admit defeat. Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Well, Forgive me, Lord Van Sykes, but the defendant is not denying everything as you put it. What are you doing, Mr. Sato? Do go on. Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Nahoro? Well, now that you mention it. When we visited him in the prison yesterday, he did tell us of what had all happened. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman, wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a scream and collapsed under the cold hard slabs of stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from here. So I ran, as fast as my legs would carry me back to my cursed lodgings. Interesting. A green overcoat. Well, that's exactly what the woman in that print is wearing. my, a photographic print in full color. What would the world come to? The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. That does not mean that he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. There was nobody else there at the time, just the two of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there is nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. In fact, the accused concedes. A fact, not the in fact. Ugh. It seems this cross-examination could prove to be pivotal, counsel. Proceed, please. Yes, my lord. Nothing to lose. I have to use this cross-examination to turn the tables. It's our only chance. Well, luckily, that's kind of my specialty. You're not a very nice man, prosecutor, but you have very pretty eyes. Okay, let's examine some of the evidence. Nothing much to look at here. See, can you, is this actually who we think it is? Like, actually, we don't, it's not the best photo. Anyway. Forgot how to back. Okay, examine the knife. Knife. Okay, well, anyway. Cool. Okay. Okay, just making sure. Nothing crazy about the knife. Everyone I used to just skip over evidence like this. Okay. Nothing much here. What we got here? Case file. Young woman rendered unconscious following stab wound to the back. Olive green, female, stout build, early 20s, pavement of Briar Road. Rolly beats. Okay. The victim remains unconscious. Her name was gleaned from her personal effects. Other details are unknown. Apart from the single stab wound from the large knife, no other signs of injury were observed. The assailant was seen running away from the reporting officer and was successfully arrested the following day. Of course he was. Okay. What do we got here? Sum of 2 shillings. Picture. The meal. Okay, yep, that's. Okay, and the street map. Okay. I want to view this again. Oh, so you can't actually see what the books are called. So we're going to assume those are the right books. The knife. Wait, hold on. That looks like the same knife. Yeah. Okay. Let's cross-examine. 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, there was an unusually light fog. Okay. Hold it! How are you able to state that with any certainty? Quite simply, my learned friend, because that is what the witnesses to this crime have told us. Ah, yes. Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he? That's right. One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard. That is correct, ma'am. Then we must hear their testimony. The prosecution will, of course, call them to the stand, should it be necessary. But, wait a minute. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen... I'm unaware of the situation on your tiny island in the east. But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all major roads are illuminated in the night by gas streetlights. Oh. The prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime. Quite here in London for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness. Which means we really need to hear those witness statements. If I could just get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to. It seems the Council for the Defense is taking stock. Continue with your testimony, Inspector. His accent's kind of lost on me today.
Hold it!
From behind, you say? That's right. As you can see from this print. Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back. And you say this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in critical condition. Comatose, no less? I'm afraid so, my lord, yes. She's being treated and bought. I was hopeful that she'd come around before the trial started so I could take a statement, but it wasn't to be. Yes, that is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of events. Luck is on your client's side, it seems. On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky. Your force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid. He's a little snippier this time, bro.
Hold it!
The defendant apparently visits a secondhand bookshop on a daily basis. Yes, sir, I understand. A shop full of old English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. The bloke's room was stacked floor to ceiling with those musty old books. Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector? Well, if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. The closest second-hand bookshop to the accused lodgings is this place here, Bourbon Books. A little place in the corner of Briar Road and Mearsham Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in the lodgings on the other side of Briar Road at the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken. Something like this. So if the image shows her walking, we could use this. I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from that particular shop. Mr. Nardo, I think that was what the inspector just told us could turn things around. I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being... 1 second. I think the location, right? Let me just save my progress just in case, because I don't remember enough information right now about everything, you know? Okay. I think it was okay. I'm trying to think if they talked about in the incident, like, the woman, was she walking towards or away from things? I didn't mean to do that. 1 second. I want to... Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, meal value, earnings. Hold on. History. I love that we have that as button. So I think it might be the location. Hold on a second. I think the location, if I'm not mistaken. I couldn't agree more. So, where is it exactly? Eh? Oh, you wanted me up, Sunshine? I just explained that. I got the map out and everything, using red, blue, and ink. I drew the bloke's route home on for you. And I distinctly remember seeing you not alone, Counsel. Okay. The blunder of the day goes to you, my learned friend. No, not yet. The trial's only just begun. Okay. Must have been... I wasn't paying close enough attention. Okay, 1 second. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so it wasn't the location. I was thinking the location because I'm like, what's there information given about, okay, there hasn't been information about which direction she was walking in. Okay. Press.
Hold it!
La 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 la. Ah. Okay. Oh, is that not the point I pressed for? What do you mean? He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsume had his hands full of books. He's managed. Oop, didn't mean to turn that up. He's managed to close the one avenue of escape we might have had before we even knew it was there. You mean to say the defendant was holding his stock for long as he thrust the knife in the woman's back? That must be what happened, my lordius. Okay, I thought. Okay.
Hold it!
Is this the... Okay. I love the skip button. It's the best thing ever. Okay, what's important? What did he say the bookshop's name was? Bourbon Books. Let me look at the receipt. Your books. Aha! Aha! Got it. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor? What? Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony? I believe it may be of vital importance. Maybe. Oh, well, you know, I mean, yes, it could be a very important clue. Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance, but please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector. Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say. Could the man be any more sardonic?
Objection!
Objection! If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson. What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know. This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 second-hand books. And you found that in the accused's room, did you? Yes. But the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it. Go on. This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books. Your Books? Your, I presume. Yes, my lord. So Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books. Eh? What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop? Yes, sir. Your Books is on the there's another second-hand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that, well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it. But in fact, that is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it.
Objection!
Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
Objection!
I disagree. I mean, after all, I have the street map here if that may be of help. Oh, yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books, then yes, he most certainly would have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all. Could it be true? My, it rather depends on where the other side of the bookshop is, but I do declare it may be possible. Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said? Absolutely. It absolutely could be right. Inspector Gregson, where is this your books establishment? Well, obviously we looked into that. It turns out that your books is just here on the next corner of Masham Street going east. And there you have it. As you can clearly see now. Oh. I tried. My learned friend is obviously in training to be a clown, the way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus. You little turd. You put that glass down now or I'll put it down for you. I didn't think I needed to spell it out, but here we go. If the accused is coming home from your books instead of bourbon books, there's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed. He might have gone this way. Yes, thank you, Inspector. Ugh. He could have went the other way. Allow me to reiterate, for my learned, if somewhat slow, friend. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. That's unfortunate. It does! He could have went the other way, man. As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try. What do you say? Enough of this now. Beg your pardon? Terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that? Mr. Naruto, we mustn't give up. What do you mean? If the prosecution's assertion is correct, the members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. Ah, she's absolutely right. We must think. We must consider the assertion just put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully. They claim he must have passed location, but no, that's not true. He could have went the other way. The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed. Explain yourself, counsel. Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. When returning from your books to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, this isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way round. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, the answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime.
Objection!
You don't know that. I've got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning. He claims that he has no recollection. That's right. As I said, the bloke seemed to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home. I don't believe this! Take off that cape. I thank you, my learned friend. I suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around this subject. pray, what say you, insightful jurors? But even if that is the case, the defendant still... Oh no. I agree with Lord Van Zykes. Wholeheartedly and in every way. What? I don't believe it. Does this mean... We members of the jury are completely convinced now. What? Very well. In that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Are you freaking kidding me? It would appear the jury's ruling is unanimous. You guys are all racist. To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You served the Queen and country admirably. Mr. Nado? No, not yet. This isn't over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow. Those are the eyes of Quarry, not yet willing to give up and die. So I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial? Rights of the defense written into antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago? Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses. Very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with the summation examination. Are those members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with what that whippersnapper and his uncle's refusal to throw in his alley. Very well then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. Oh gosh. Judicial findings. For pity's sake, that little oddity already admitted it himself, didn't he? If he'd said that woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why, it could only have been the victim. The man would have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, not in winter. So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful. I really don't care. Can't we just wrap this up now? I got work to be doing. Your books, yes. Nice shop that. But bourbon books? No, not worth a visit. That's your reasoning for sending a man to die? You don't like his taste in bookshops? With only minor exceptions, the reasons for finding the defendant guilty are all too clear. I think there's more than a few minor exceptions to that, Judge. When the stabbing occurred, the only two people at the scene were the victim and the accused. And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in her green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes. Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector that the defendant that fled the scene. I must say I would have ample grounds to convict this man already. Oh dear, even the judge appears convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt now. Why did he have to run away like that? And how are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that nobody could see? This is impossible. How can I possibly make a case for the defense? Mr. Nado, this is no time for grumbling. If we want to force the trial to continue... Yes, I know. I have to turn the tide. I must make the jurors change their minds. Well, 4 of them at least. Exactly. We have no choice but to forge forward. You have the floor, counsel. Begin your summation examination. Yes, my lord. I just need to keep this trial going somehow, whatever it takes. He's so cute. Come on, Renoski, you can do it. Jury examination. Huh. It sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced of his guilt. But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective. I agree. It's the irrelevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate him. That's something. We must use that to our advantage. Cunningly. You're right. Okay, I might press them. Okay, I might do some pressing. He admitted it himself.
Hold it!
But you can't deny that there are other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken back from your books. Ah, yes, like you drew on the map, you mean? Was that it? Calabash Road or something? Precisely. But it seems to me that what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not. Well, yes, that's true. And at the moment, there's no proof that shows he did, is there? Well, yes, that's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he? Well, yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter nights are dark and cold, so the way I see it, you've got to get home as quickly as possible. It's really not that much longer to just go the other way. Well, yes, why is this all true? So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along Briar Road. It just doesn't make my mind on the whim that he did it. I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone to Calabash Road anyway, it'd be different. I'd be happy to reconsider my position. Honest, I would. A good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway this young man's opinion without one. I don't know.
Hold it!
Whatever the matter, young man. You're the wife of Mr. Gerda, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume's room? The master's wife? Where do you get your idea, sir? I'm the maid. The maid, you understand. She's keeping that charade? This is going to be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you'd be selected for the jury in this trial, I mean? Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It was in the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice. I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant, takes lodging in your master's house, doesn't he? Yes, that's right. Although he's only been a little over a week now. In that time, surely you must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsume look the kind of man who would commit a crime such as this? Oh my goodness me, yes! He's just the sort. What? Spending all his time in that dark and dingy room, sporting that unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks. Don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something. Oh dear, poor Mr. Natsume. How can people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm, nothing more. Well, you called him a worm, so. Anyway, I'd better be careful about inviting his maid to speak. She said enough things already.
Hold it!
What's your reason? A man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes. Don't get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so's my family's. Uh-huh. The likes you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can't afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat. Neither do the wife and kids. Oh, I see. That must be very hard. I go to union every morning to find out what needs doing. If you're late, the work's done. Yup, words. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left, right, and center. That's cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn till dusk, it is. So, you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you? That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just around the corner from where it all happened, by that bookshop. What? That's right. Mersham Street it was. Mersham Street. That's it! That's it! You couldn't have went that way. You had to go the other way. Mersham Street. On the map, there are only 3 named streets. Juror number 5, I need you to add that information to your formal statement. What's the point in that? Can't we just have this business over with now? Please, sir, it's important. Yes. Fine, I'll do it then.
Objection!
Objection! Those 2 statements are clearly at odds with one another. At odds, counsel? Explain yourself. Please don't point. It wasn't me, I swear. Hey, what? I just want to get this done and dusted. Well, juror number 3? Oh, me, sir? What do you want? Me. Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of secondhand books. And on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Mersham Street, making it impassable, which means the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Mersham Street, I can't pronounce that, and down Briar Road. Oh yes, of course! Well, what do you think, sir? Well, yes, you can't argue with that really, can you? He must have made good 2 yards or more with the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had turned back and go the other way. So, the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have. I suppose that must be right, eh? Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back to the bookshop, but we see now that he had no choice. My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may? Yes? I don't think in all good conscience that I can say the man's guilty now. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened. Woohoo! What about you, sir? Eh? Who, me? Ugh, well, alright then. If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in, that's what I'll say. Well done, Mr. Naruto. That was wonderful. Well, we've managed to change a couple minds at least. It strengthened our position somewhat. Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stance as well. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if only we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that would make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume, we might be able to tip the balance completely. Yes, that's exactly what we've got to do. Van Zykes is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent, by whatever means we have at our disposal. He's respectful. He's giving me my floor. I'll give him that. Thank you, counsel. On with the summation examination. Yes, my lord.
Hold it!
What does that even mean? Sorry? Fold it, you say? Fold what? No, what I said was hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often? I'd like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of tea. That's my daily routine, same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about. And at what time did you visit your books on the day in question? Well, I was picking up books that afternoon. It would have been just before 5. That's my daily routine. Same thing every day, including the day you're talking about. Just before 5, you say? Exactly when the victim was attacked. Are you sure about the time? Oh yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry. Not after the dreadful time I had. What do you mean? Well, I was about walking down Calabash Road when I slipped in the ice and donked me head. It's always worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's most slippery. So true. Knocked myself clean, I did. I really thought my number was up. Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road? Oh, this road. Okay. That's right. I live on Cornpipe, see? Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your books. Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your formal statement. It may very well be extremely significant. Sorry? Extremely sick? No, I'm quite alright now.
Hold it!
Excuse me, but aren't you... Yes, that's right. I was a witness stand myself just 2 days ago. Yes, I had a feeling I knew your face. Or the side of it, anyway. If I remember correctly, you're a banker, aren't you? That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came back to London to work. And it was all going swimmingly until you started fossicking around. Bruce Fairplay was a man of repute. Sorry? Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. You had me and that young adder pegged as criminals. Oh, well, you know. Water under the bridge. Now there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around. The police have been badgering me non-stop. If I could turn back the clock... Well, anyway, I don't know about the hatter, but at least I'm in the clear now. I'm free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't. Thank goodness. Maybe I might struggle to change this man's mind given our awkward history. Oh dear, I wonder what's become of Mr. First.
Hold it!
You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him. Quite right, that's precisely my point. Clearly that someone's wearing green was the victim. And clearly that funny little man with the disturbing mustache is the culprit. But let's not forget, madame, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman. Why, of course he does. If he admits stabbing her, his life is over. The man is obviously a liver-faced coward, honestly, claiming the woman simply collapsed. Okay, so that's, yeah. I really couldn't say, after all you are foreign, who's to say what goes through your funny little minds? And no one else could have doubted the accused must be the man. Really, it couldn't have been more simple. Okay. Okay, so we need to pit her against... Oh wait, he's in a green coat. I'm so slow. Oh my goodness.
Objection!
I didn't look at his coat. Those two statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning. A flaw? What are you talking about, counsel? Well, juror number 2? Juror number 6? By whatever do you mean, sir? I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you. Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There's at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack, he had been to your books and purchased a number of second-hand titles. He then returned home on foot. But the man says he's no recollection of his return journey. That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat, who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes. We are well aware of this. The poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously. Can we really be sure of that, madame? My, whatever do you mean? I'm sure you heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else, apart from the victim, who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood. Oh my? My goodness, you mean? That's right. And I'm referring, of course, to the hard of hearing juror number 6. Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat whom that defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the jolly old gentleman at the end of the bench here with me today? That is entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim. Well, look at that. My goodness me! Sorry, you need a pee? And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell. On Calabash Road. Therefore, if the person who was Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6, it means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home. Oh my! It's so cinematic. You idiot, old man! If you hadn't been so daft as to be rubbing about there, we'd have boxed us off hours ago. Really, what were you thinking wearing such a befuddling coat? What did you say to me? Is it crime to be elderly to walk the streets these days? Is it crime to sip over the ice? Is it crime to keep up today's styles away beautiful green overcoat? My lord, I do hope it wasn't cause any inconvenience, but you'd like to change your leaning, I presume? I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you. I would too. What? Is it a crime to change your mind, is it? Well... It's so funny. Okay. Well, that summation examination has concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The ayes 2, the noes 4. The noes have it, not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
Could it seem churlish of me to drink from my hollowed chalice moments after raising an objection, only to crush it in disgust? Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zeiss? Zykes! Still don't know. It seems I must retract my earlier remark. What do you mean? I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer. Eh? Whatever do you mean? I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I've said is the truth. Indeed. Stalwart juror number 5 was undoubtedly repairing the road, as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavements which you had excavated, sir? That's right. It took me all day. They paid a measly tuppence for it. Now, my learned friend, tell me. Do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents? If I'm honest, I don't have a clue. 2 yards is a little less than 2 meters. Less than 2 meters? That's not much at all! In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor. Would you not agree, my stalwart friend? Hey, me? I wouldn't say you're wrong, no. What? And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works? Hey, I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have had a hope of passing anyway. We just started letting gentlefolk back when they can. Kids jump right over us all the time. The accused is no gentleman as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town. Is that true, is it? The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road. Crushed in a single sentence. And old man. Old man, you can talk! You say that around 5 o'clock on the day in question, you slipped and fell in Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking man behind you at the time? Oh, I can't say I remember. You don't remember? How about a wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man that the accused saw. But I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it. Well played, sir. Order! Order! Lord Van Zyks, explain yourself. Van Zyks, my lord. If you had such trenchant argument of your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer it during the summation examination? I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. But my hospitality has limits, and they have been reached, I feel. The coat is being removed! Yes! So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over. What are you talking about? My lord! The prosecution requests permission to call its next witnesses to the stand. Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witnesses. Its next witnesses? Mr. Naruto, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident. Yeah, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less. I'm afraid that it's likely to be the prosecution's next witness. Alright. No matter who Van Zyks brings into the stand as his witnesses, and no matter what they say, I believe in Sasuke-san. I know he's innocent, and I'll keep believing to the very end, until this battle is over. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. Allow me to save my progress, sir. Okay, we are still in part 1. Okay, good. Just double checking. Because last time they stumped part 2 in me. Constable Rolly beat, sir! Nothing to report on the street, sir! And I'm Mrs. B. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say I'm this young town's hero's wife. What's the story here? Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day. No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired. Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually. Indeed, apart from the rare days off, our gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day, you know. They patrol boarding houses, pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check that meters are reading true, and they're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting and extinguishing our streetlights. There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all. I wouldn't just be falling asleep on my feet, I'd have collapsed a long time ago. But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honor. And a man of slumber. On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beach? That's right, sir. Isn't it, Rolly? Constable Rolly Beach, sir. Nothing to report on the street, sir. What a great witness he's going to be. Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw in the afternoon in the incident. Yes, sir. It was our wedding anniversary, and Willie was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, then the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight over the course, then went to help at the nearby police box. It was definitely that Japanese man on the dock. Rolly and I both saw him clear as day. Suspicious. Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I must say. No, it's not. They just told us what we already know. Oh dear, this policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene. If their testimony is true, the alternative course of events that you established in the summation examination will be quashed. It's death knell, in fact. Because that alternative was never viable in the first place. What an unfortunate chancing on your wedding anniversary, too. Oh, I know! But I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that. Gosh, the life of a London Bobby sounds very hard indeed. Indeed, however. This cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. He already admitted to fleeing the scene. What they didn't see was him stabbing the chick. They are testifying under oath that it was without doubt the accused, Mr. Sasuke's Natsume. And one of these witnesses is a policeman, no less. So you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure. Except that the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking. Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense, commence the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. Where were you going for a meal? No time to change after work, you say? Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply. Well, I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job. Can't you? I think Rolly looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling? What? I just finished my beat. Pat and I headed back to the station. I was actually planning to get changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy. Oh no, Rolly. I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when you see you in plain clothes. Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy. Kindly adhere to the point. You were going for a meal after you finished your beat for the day. That's right, sir. Yes. Although I was fit to drop, to be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm the proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and my queen to the end. What's that now? My warrant card, sir. Proof that I'm a London copper. As the noble founding principles of the force written on it, as a reminder to all policemen of our sworn duty to patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of common man. Sir, and for such a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day without fail and without a grumble. Because I know that plodding of my boots all Londoners need to hear to feel safe and secure. Sir. Fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then. But sir, just on that particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. B puts us with a lot being married to a Bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. Oh, Pat. Oh, really? Oh, what a charming couple. The young love is such a joy to behold. If a little over the top, perhaps. And then, okay, I thought that they were going to say where they were going. Okay.
Hold it!
Scattered something. What do you mean by that? Oh, well, I couldn't make out what it was at the time. Then, when we got closer, we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling? Hey. Hey. Huh? What? I said right. I said, oh, look. I see. Yes, sir. The culprit had dropped a number of them, all round where the victim lay on the pavement. Indeed, as clearly pictured in this photographic print. That rotten Japanese man did that when he did the deeds. You didn't see him doing the deed. Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. But we saw him. It was the man in dark without question, sir. It was him, but he said he saw her fall and ran away. You didn't say that you saw him stab the woman. Your witnesses suck. That's right. He looked down at the poor defenseless woman with those terrifying, intense eyes, and suddenly threw his books to the pavement and ran away. I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth. They are telling the truth. May I remind the court that this unambiguous testimony comes from the policeman and his wife. Now please continue. Yes, sir! Oh, yeah, sure, of course, but how would be
Hold it!
But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face. We absolutely could. Us Andersons have exceptional eyesight. I had to, you know. Right. The light from the street lamps was more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't he? Yes, and what of the fog? We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's an absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course. Oh, it is it? When it's thick, you can't even see the hand that's in front of your own arm. Yes, alright, I take your point. Now, could you stop shaking your husband about? The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was the little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling? Huh? What? Ah, yes. It was accused and no mistake. The mustache on his back, the cat-like eyes, the top mouth, the snub nose, unmistakable, sir. As far as this couple is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Susky-san they saw running away. But you didn't see him stab the woman. That's it, is it? That's their entire testimony? What do you think? Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing their testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beat saw what they saw. We already know he ran for the scene of the crime. He didn't stab the woman. Yes, I feel the same. It's true. Where does that leave us? They didn't see him stab her. Oh no. Don't talk about my best friend. I don't want to think about him right now. What are you trying to say? I think you were trying to find a contradiction. Their statement about seeing him is unequivocal. Calling it into question won't help. If you could identify some other part of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them, to make the jury doubt if the pair's memory of the day is accurate. Right. Put simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in these statements. If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion. Yeah. Okay.
Hold it!
Two silhouettes. That's right. They were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in opposite direction. There was a rather plump figure followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man. That does sound exactly like the victim. Yes, unfortunately it does. And you're certain that at the time there was nobody else nearby? Oh yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there were streetlights and Briar Roads, you see? There's nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling? What? Ah, yes, that's right. Of course, there was a light fog on the ground. But Briar Road is dead straight, and you can see it fairly long way down the pavement. And there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other pedestrians. Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer please, Mr. Beat. Are you quite sure of what you've just said? Yes, sir. As a copper who spends all day every day keeping watch on the streets, I swear to it, sir. I'm as sure as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat. Oh, Raleigh. They're still maintaining it. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened. It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run. That didn't stop him. He fled the scene. Thank you. I believe we have reasonably cleared the situation before the incident. What happened at the crucial moment that followed? You didn't see him stab her.
Hold it!
Was it your husband who went to fetch help? No, I won't. I may not be a police officer myself, but I'm the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling? What? Oh, yes, that's right. I asked Mrs. Beak to go. I was off duty by that point. But Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene. Very laudable. Preserving the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance. That's why I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box. Forgive my ignorance, but what exactly do you mean by the right police box? Depends on a crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't exactly on my beat, so I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat the incident fell under, so she should go and report it. Around there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more important than a young couple in love working together, you know? And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of two mortal citizens. Oh, please, they're making us blush. Isn't he, darling? Yes, sir. What Patricia said, sir. Let's move on, shall we? Mr. Lawyer, sir? Can I ask you something? Oh, yes, of course. What is it? Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we told you, so... It seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right? Is it? Well, out with it. I believe your testimony. I don't think you didn't see the stabbing. What? No. No. It's really not that at all. My husband's a policeman, remember? I know what I saw. I remember every last detail. Everything like... Oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped? I could tell you the names of every single one I could. Every single one. And you dare question how reliable my testimony is? That will do, Miss B. No, it won't do at all. That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, don't think for a minute that Rolly will. I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please put your husband's fists down. Perhaps you would like the opportunity to supplement your testimony, Mrs. B. Might that appease you? Oh, thank you, my lords. That would settle things quite nicely. Wouldn't it, darling? Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Okay, I don't know what the books have to do with nothing. All I'm saying is you didn't see him stab her. You didn't say in your testimony.
Objection.
You didn't see the stabbing! So you're saying that there were 4 books? That's right, I remember all of them. The picture of monster somebody, what's it yearnings, a meal for someone, and the thingummy something. I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But there's a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours. Oh no, what flaw? Simply that, at the scene of the crime, there were only 3 books, not 4. What? Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime. As you can clearly see, there are only 3 books. But no, that can't be. I saw them. Oh, I know what it is. You can't fool me. Sorry? It's that big old lump of a dead body. That lady so large her corpse is blocking the view of the 4th book, that's all. Let's at least try to remember that the poor woman isn't dead, even if we're insulting her size. Goodness. No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But Mr. Nazmi could not have possibly dropped 4 books. Why not? Fascinating. And from your assured tone, something you can readily substantiate with evidence, I presume? Evidence. The receipt. Constable, present the evidence. Proof you have. Yeah, the receipt that we've already pointed out in court. The evidence is right here in the form of this bookshop receipt from your books. Yes, this receipt details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day. But as you can see, only 3 books are listed. No! Therefore, Mr. Natsume could only have dropped 3 books at the scene of the crime. Which means that your powers of observation, madame, cannot be relied upon. I don't think that's how this works, but... So it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken. Oh no, oh no, oh no, no! What? Why do you care so much? What do you want? It's plainly evident that it is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned friend of esteemed nation, Japan. What? What cannot be denied is that these 2 witnesses saw the accused running from the scene, which the accused has admitted to. We're not convicting him of running away from the scene of a crime. We're convicting him of stabbing a woman, and no one can confirm that they saw him stab the woman. A fact that you know very well you have no hope of disproving. Oh my goodness. Anyway. So you've striven to avert attention from that by dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. Would that be fair? He seems right through me. But your plan has somewhat recoiled against you. What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. To the policeman's wife and her entirely accurate testimony in every respect. Oh! You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene of the Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found.
Objection.
But what about the photographic print? That only shows 3 books. Quite right. Oh, is it in her book bag? Only 3 books can be seen in that print. That print? You mean to say? Allow me to present another. One that shows the victim's hand. The updated autopsy report. Is that book burnt? That's a suspicious looking book. I'm not, no one saw him stab her. It doesn't matter if he was there. As you will observe, the 4th book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso. Then why, good sir, did you not submit this one right away? There's something suspicious in this. Don't act so... Calm down, dude. He doesn't have us. The witnesses didn't see him stab her. So, okay. Order. You see? Look at that. Look. Yes, I see it. It's just like I said. Isn't it, my darling? Yes, sir. Patricia's always right, sir. Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused on the day in question. Mrs. Beach, the titles once again, if you please. Yep, they're right. Yep, you're right. Yep, we don't even need to read it. They're correct. We know they're right. Yep. As the court has just heard, the witness remembers the book titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details. Mrs. Beat's powers of recollection can only be described as exceptional. Did you hear that, Wally? The gentleman paid me a compliment. Yes, sir. Flawless, sir. Patricia says flawless. But there's only 3 books in the receipt, and Mrs. Beat mentioned 4. There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly, the 4th book is that which is shown in this photographic print. I'm sorry, counsel, but that does not seem odd. Why should the 4th book be omitted from the receipt? Because it was her book. Oh, everyone's so slow. It's not that odd at all, my lord. As the photograph clearly shows, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. On the other words, it belongs to the victim. The victim was holding her own book. I wonder, what became of that 4th book? Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigating officers at Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence. You will submit it. My pleasure, my lord. There's a reason why you were hiding it. Nah. Let me... The prosecution rests. Give me a second. That is not... I bet it's not the same book. It's not the same book. It ain't the same book. Oh, it is the same book. Oh, okay. It is the same book. Alright, fine. Oh, look at this. The book has been badly burnt. You're right. You'd never be able to... This ties into the old couple. Is that lady the wife/maid? The one on the ground? Are we like faking things here? I'm so confused. Okay. You're right, you'd never be able to read it in this state, especially not the latter pages. I think we're gonna get another investigation after this trial. I don't know. I feel like there's not enough information. What a terrible waste. Judging from the scorched edges of the paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently. A book. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's what I'm saying. Okay, let's look at the photo. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's something suspicious. It ties into that story, but I don't know, like, the details. I have nothing further to add. What? You seem surprised, my learned friend. But your resistance until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile. The spurious longer route to the accused lodgings that you tried to establish in your summation examination, and the attempted discrediting of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination. Futile? I walked right into this, didn't I? Futile, futile, futile! You see? Everything we've said is true? Isn't that right, my darling? Ryunosuke, we know what they're saying is true. What we don't have is a witness that saw him stab her. Yes, Pat. Marry me, Pat. You're already married. So, perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions? Should the court waste any more time on this travesty? You are a racist, sir. I know you know you're a racist, but I just want to restate, sir. Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You have heard all the witnesses and seen all of the evidence. This trial has run its course. Mr. Naruto, I'm afraid we're in a terribly precarious position. I know, but if I fight back in the wrong way now, I could very well just make matters worse. Options. Yeah, objection. Hold on, maybe I'll save first. I'm raising an objection. Nah. Suspicious. You did see him stab her. That's all I have to say. Did you see a stabbing? No, you saw her collapse.
Objection.
I'm not done yet. No, my learned friend, it's over. That last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense, and you failed. You withheld evidence from the court. The die has been cast. There is no more room for debate. Well, it might be over as far as you're concerned, but I can't think of what to say. If I may, Lord Van Zanks, it seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point. Your insignificant little Eastern Isle might be a lawless hole indeed. For a lowly judicial assistant to have the audacity to intervene at a moment like this. Oh? Don't let him shut you down. I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer. So you will have to forgive me, but I consider my assistant's advice essential and her opinions invaluable. Mr. Naruto! Yeah, I got class, unlike some people. One of this great land's great guiding principles is tolerance, so the court will hear you, madam. Go ahead, Mr. Sato, please. Very well. Pray, what insight can you give us? What have we all overlooked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further? Well, the court has been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination was finished. I see. And you believe that this new evidence warrants further examination? Mr. Naruto, what do you think? Well, duh! It's just possible that this new evidence might be the decisive proof we've been waiting for. The judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to announce their leanings in a moment. And of course, he's sure to ask you to explain what the crucial piece of evidence is and why. So you must take this opportunity to examine the newly presented evidence as thoroughly as possible. I understand, and thank you, Mr. Sato. This is it. Let's save again. I just don't understand why your witnesses are decisive when they didn't see a stabbing. They only saw what we already know is actually true. The defense wishes to present evidence, my lord. Why are you looking at me like that? Very well. The defense may present one further piece of evidence. Evidence that apparently offers a profound insight in the case and has hitherto been overlooked.
Take that!
The evidence in question is what we can see from the newly presented photograph print of the crime scene. The fourth book found in the victim's hand. We have already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than it being in the victim's grasp at the time of the incident, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter further would be a flagrant waste of the court's time, as you well know. Don't be scared of him. Yes, I'm afraid, counsel, I must concur with the prosecution on this matter. When I afforded you this opportunity, you led the court to believe that the evidence in the question contained a hitherto undiscovered clue. Why is he so angry? So I must insist that you elaborate, counsel. You identify the clue at once. Do I make myself clear? Oh, yes, my lord. It's, Mr. Nardo, I believe the prosecution is trying to avoid a thorough examination of the evidence, which means you may very well be on the right track. I am on the right track. Yes, I think you might be right. Hurry up.
Counsel.
Precisely where is the vital clue? La 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 Got it! I got it! I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question.
The back? What do you... Good gracious!
Nobody else noticed that the book was burnt? Okay.
It's been burnt to a crisp.
So we have to ask ourselves, why was the victim clutching what is clearly an unreadable book? It is undeniably an extremely unnatural thing for her to have been doing.
Objection!
Unnatural, you say? And what of it, my friend of the esteemed land of Japan? Oh? Were I to concede the point, if it bears no relation to the case, there is nothing to discuss. So should you wish to assert that this fire damage is some veiled clue as to what happened that day, pray, do enlighten us all. What truth does this charred book hide? A charred book. There's just one possibility here, which I can't quite bring myself to rule out. It's an outside chance, certainly, but worth a try. Alright, I'll explain my theory. Don't keep us waiting any longer then, counsel. Explain it. What are you suggesting you can assert from the fire damage? Okay, save. Save. I know its owner. And I know where it came from. We'll start with the owner. My lord, the burn in the back of this book reveals a startling truth about the book's owner.
I beg your pardon?
But we already know who the book belongs to. The victim was gripping in her hands as she fell to the floor, after all. It's obviously hers. The question of how this book came to be in the victim's hand has yet to be answered. However, as to the questions of who the book really belongs to and where it originated, I got it. I got it, guys. Here's my theory. Remember, she thought that her husband was cheating on her? Maybe she stabbed this chick in a jealous fit of rage. Or, for some reason, this is her pretending to be a corpse, because you can't actually see the face of the lady. So that's also a possibility. So this could be forged evidence. But I think maybe she stabbed someone in a little bit of a jealous fit of rage. The defense has very credible answers.
Good gracious, how can you possibly?
Very well. I'll play along with this futile attempt to delay your inevitable demise. But do remember, The members of the jury may well burn you if your little gamble goes awry. Awry, not awry. What's awry? Awry. Okay, fine. So, who do you claim? The answer is the book belongs to the couple who own the house where the defendant has his lodgings. I love the spin. A certain Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb. The landlords. And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know, but of all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for jury duty in this courtroom today is none other than Mrs. Garrideb herself. Oh my goodness! Me? I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm not Mr. Garrideb's wife. I'm his maid. Things would be so much easier if you would just drop the pretense. Alright then, how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen this book in Mr. Garrideb's house? I would never presume to know all the books he keeps, sir. This is outlandish behavior. This woman is the accused landlady, you say? You implicate this hard-working member of the public. You besmirch her without a shred of evidence. Your actions are unforgivable.
Objection!
This music's so good! This is not mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day in question, at almost exactly the same time as the victim was stabbed on the pavement below, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house. Good Lord! What sort of incident, counsel? A fire, my lord. Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bully thing. Didn't take long for the fire to spread. The bully furniture started going up as well. Worst of it, I lost my favorite book, called The Lion's Pride. I'm scared. The Lion's Pride. He's scary when he's angry.
By Jove! The very same title is subject to this debate.
Oh dear me!
This is risible. All you've told the court is that a book by the same name was involved in a fire.
In which case, it would be reasonable to assume that it was burnt to ashes. And entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself to the scene of the crime. Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you that the cause of the fire was marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Mrs. Garrideb was considerably enraged. Apparently, she continued to attack Mr. Garrideb even amid the flames. Oh, how awful! I can't imagine being so hard to one you love, can you, Rolly? Absolutely not, sir! My Patricia would never raise a finger against me, sir! Had all my favorite novels old novels in that case, but as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke. Then the wife started hurling things at me. Oh, she threw the book at him. There was I backwards window on a heavy enemy fire. Incinerate books incoming 10 to the dozen. Did she throw a knife out the window? Was this like some weird Ace Attorney logic? She threw a book out the window, she bent over to pick it up, then she threw a knife out the window. So maybe this lady was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't know. I can see if the window was shattered or not. If the window was shattered, I don't remember. The man had his back up against the window and he had a burning book thrown at him.
Good gracious, are you suggesting that the book was thrown through a window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime?
Objection!
I'm suggesting not only a book, but also a knife.
No, a thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted the very evening of the incident, and there is no report of the garret window pane being broken.
That's quite true. We also saw no sign of broken glass when we visited the Garrett household. But it is not conceivable that the window was open at the time, and
Not even remotely. Let us not forget the season and the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would ever leave a window open in the middle of winter.
Okay. Does the defense postulate this scenario in all seriousness, counsel? Do you earnestly claim the book was found at the scene and was a flaming projectile thrown by Mr. Garrett's wife? Yep. I believe it's a possibility, my lord. That's quite enough. Oh, it's the wife. That's quite enough! Well, I hope that everyone you can see what you are now, you little foreign trickster! You call yourself a lawyer, but you're just a coward. A mean coward. Really? Claiming that a little tip set the whole neighborhood alight, honestly. Implying that I'm merely posing as a maid for appearance sake. How could you? It's nothing to do with this beastly case. Not any of it. All you've done is sully our family's name. No, I assure you that was never my intention. Dragging an upstanding citizen's name through the mud to simply divert attention from your failing defense. I should box your ears. That's what I should do. It's utterly unforgivable. Too right. Here we go. How long do we have to sit here listening to this spouting his fancy foreign theories? Think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could possibly stab the victim is that little hunchback with the mustache. And he ran away from the scene. He was scared. No! I think this wife accidentally stabbed the chick. I think she hurled a knife at him. This lady sucks. Well, it would appear the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are once again in full agreement. What is your position, Lord Van Sykes? In truth, my lord, I feel these have been unnecessary protracting proceedings. But then, one must always exercise patience in order to savor the best vintage. No! Wait! The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been... Get your foot off the table! If books are your predilection, my learned friend, study them on your own time. What? No forgive the discourtesy this time? In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now state your individual decisions regarding the defendant's culpability for the court to hear.
Guilty!
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Thank you for that unambiguous response. That's twice now it's over. Mr. Nato, don't give up! Mrs. Nato, have you forgotten? The battle isn't over yet. You're not suggesting... Of course! The defense has the right to another summation examination at this point. You could still convince the jurors to change their minds. You have one more chance. Alright. My lord, the defense asks to exercise its right to a summation examination. You believe you still have tricks up your sleeve? I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to uncover the truth. This is no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong. Oh my gosh! She threw the knife out the window.